Yo, yo, yo. Did I lose the earring? Oh. What's up, y'all? So, for those of you who don't know, I am Tish, and you're tuning in to Dish with Tish. And I just want to talk real with y'all for a moment. I started this Dish with Tish page along with the Dish with Tish YouTube and Twitter. I started this to help young ladies. I would get calls often from young ladies having difficulty navigating the dating game. And it was just on my heart that so many of my friends desire to be in a committed monogamous relationship, and they keep finding themselves with people who are disingenuous in their intentions, pretending, willing to tell them whatever they want to hear. And for some reason, a lot of them aren't picking up on the signs that come pretty naturally for me. And that was born from a history of hanging with the fellas. So I hung with the fellas so much that I pretty much became one of them. They always protected me. They always respected me, which was a requirement. But they also shared things that they would share with each other. And sometimes I'd be like, all right, y'all, that's enough. You know what I mean? So to that end, starting with my brother at a young age and his friends, and as I grew up, my boyfriend's friends and just the homeboys, I was one of the homegirls, right? It took my husband to say to me that I'm not looking for a homeboy, I'm looking for a wife. And this is what he said. He said, you can't be my homeboy and my girl at the same time. That's what he said. And I was like, okay. He was letting it be known that he was interested in something more serious. Why am I sharing this? Not long ago, I posted a post that told you guys that I have been not so active in posting, neither here nor on YouTube, because I coined it in an isolation for consecration. So for those that follow, I am a child of God. I am a proclaimed Christian. And I have been getting closer to God. I have a lot going on in life. And so it was just important to me to focus more on God than building a brand. I want God's blessings. I don't want, I've never been one to live my life for likes and shares and comments and all that stuff. So I want to reach as many people as possible, as many people as I can help, but I want to do that with God's hand. He can have me reach as many people as he wants, but I have to make certain that I'm listening to his downloads, right? So I've been taking some time to reflect. And that's something that he has shared with me, that he wants to, that I'm going to be far better served letting him build my brand than me attempting to build my brand on my own, right? And so today's message, so one of the things I wanted to do is I'm a very direct, straight shooter. And in being that way, I can oftentimes be offensive to people. And that is never my intention. But I call a spade, and I that was just how I was raised. My mom and my dad straight shooters. If you knew them or you know them, well, if you knew them, because they're both in glory now, but if you knew them, you know what I'm talking about. My mom, you never had to wonder what she was thinking. She thought out loud. I had to say, Mom, chill out. You think that through first. Run it through the filter. Okay, so I have been taking some time to make certain that the messages that I give are not in any way offensive to anyone, because if I offend you, then I can't help you, right? And so some people's approach is to, I don't care if I offend you, you need to hear this. And some people retain information that way, and that's perfectly fine. There's a lane for us all, because there are some of the girls out here that are giving it straight lace, no chaser, with tons of cuss words, calling you the B word frequently. That's just not my thing. At one point in my life, you was going to get it like that. I never call people to B. I don't do that. I don't want, none of my girlfriends call me a B. I don't answer to that. That's just never been my thing. But be that as it may. So the message, that the thing I want to talk about today is really interesting. Last night I couldn't sleep. My husband wasn't feeling well, so I was trying to stay up to see how he was going to feel. And so it's 1:30 or so in the morning. I come across a video from Yung Joc. For those of you who don't know who Yung Joc is, he is a radio personality, but he is also a TV personality on the Love and Hip Hop, I believe it's the Atlanta franchise. Okay, so Yung Joc had this video that popped up as I was scrolling Instagram, doing the mud mask, and it said second date. And Yung Joc began to talk to this young lady, and she was saying, you know, I'm dating this guy, and he's not taking my calls, but if I call from another number, he answers that call, and yada, 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 right? And so they said, okay, you know, why do you think he's doing this? I don't know, but you know, I'm his woman, and this is my dude, so I'm trying to get in touch with him. I need your help to get in touch with him. Now, again, the title of this is Second Date, right? So what Joc does is he gets the other party on the line. I am sorry, but oh, that's too much. Okay. So what he does is he gets the other part. Oh, shoot. He gets the other party on the line, right? The gentleman that she was referring to. So he answers right away. Hello? He's like, yo, let's say his name's Tony. Hey, Tony, this is Yung Joc, and whatever his radio handle is, that yada, 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 right? And the girl is on a three-way, so she was like, why are you not answering my calls? And he was like, oh, by the way, this is, I got your girl, Ciara, or whatever her name, on the line too. I need some gum or something. My mouth, I'm talking about cotton mouth, y'all. I got it. It's been a long day. 1 second, y'all. Oh, shoot. That wasn't an ASMR video. I apologize for the slurping, but they fill the waters all the way up. So as soon as you open them, they're like spilling over. My lap is soaking wet. So this young lady is like, yo, why are you not returning my calls? Yo, I got a piece of candy. A Jolly Rancher. Got it in my pocketbook. Yes. Yeah, honey. My mouth is so dry. Why are you not returning my calls? And he was like, hold on, what? Wait a minute. First of all, I'm not your dude. I don't have to return your calls. And she was like, You are my dude. And he was like, no, I'm not. And her next response had me just about vomit in my mouth. She said, what we shared was special. He said, what we shared was a one-night stand. And she said, well, you came all in my body. Baby, the level of nastiness it takes to have a one-night stand raw in 2021 is appalling. And that nastiness is not just this lady, this young lady. This guy was nasty too. Nasty. It was someone at the radio station that said that 3 of his kids were born from a one-night stand in the same night. What are we doing, people? What are we doing for real? In every city across this country, we have young boys and girls in gangs, killing each other, robbing, stealing, raising themselves, forced to raise their siblings, living without, going hungry. What the freak are we doing? She goes on to say, I've been trying to call you to tell you something. And he was like, you ain't got nothing to tell me. He was like, I listen, I live in North Carolina. I live in Atlanta. You live in North Carolina, which she had explained early on. He said, I was in town. We met. I hit. I went back home the same day. And I ain't talked to you since. So we ain't got nothing. She said, well, I'm pregnant. So you got me for the next 18 years. He asked her what was her Cash App so he could send her abortion money. Now, I don't know if this is done for shits and giggles, excuse the language, for my Christian friends, just to have humor on the show. You know, everybody wants to be heard, to be seen. It's just ridiculous. But the level of ignorance it takes to really live and carry out your life in that way is unfathomable to me. And it brings me back to my original desire to help sisters get their self-esteem tight enough that would never be okay. No part of that will ever be okay. And brothers, guess what? Y'all need to tighten up too. Anyone that baby, there's an old saying, if you lie down with dogs, you come up with fleas. Fellas, y'all need to start moving with a penis that has a conscience. If they're willing to give it to you that free or that freely, who else do you think that they may be willing to do that with? And she went on to say, well, the way you were spending money and this, that, and the other, what we had was special. I let you come all in my body, so that makes you a comeback. Whether this was for shits or giggles or not, there are sisters out here that are engaging in this type of activity. They're performing fellatio or giving fellatio head, for those of you that need it in lay's terms, on first dates. There was a whole phenomenon of if I give head, I can still maintain my virginity. Can I tell you how fellatio is something for me that was reserved for marriage? I'm married. I can hang from the chandeliers and do whatever I want. But I'm not putting my face and my mouth between some man's legs and I don't know where he's been. He's not mine. He hasn't even committed to me. I don't even know his last name. This woman did not even know this man's last name. I call this the Ray Ray syndrome. You know Ray Ray from Instagram, and you trying to track him down to let him know that you're having his baby. And she said, I don't want your Cash App money because I'm not killing no child. Come on, y'all. My mom raised me. This may sound so antiquated, old school, whatever you want to call it, but it kept me classy. I'm a fox. I sit on my box. You do not bed every guy you meet. And while you may have an itch that you need scratched and you handle your business as an adult, nobody's here to judge you. But sisters, ladies, meeting dudes on one night stands and having babies where you have no idea. You don't even know this man's medical history. Many of you don't know if a person with sickle cell trait links up with someone else with sickle cell trait, they produce a child that has sickle cell. You could be bringing a child into the world destined for a life of pain and suffering. What a dude you don't even know, that you're not even planning on being with. It ain't like we happy, we married, we having babies. Many of you, I'm talking to the ladies, will follow along with whatever is said to you at the time. So if you're in a relationship and the fella says, we just going with the flow, we kicking it, let's not put no titles on this, we having a good time and whatever. And so we move like, this my man and we good because I don't need to get married because what we got is good and this, that, and the other. When in fact, if he were to ask you to marry him, you would jump. I referenced in a previous video how a young lady, I was in a group, and it was mentioned how Joy Behar from The View had finally married her boyfriend of 27 years. And I commented in the group that you can't have me for 27 years without being married. I'm not no long-term girlfriend. I am a wife. I was a wife before I became a wife. Not that I had ever been married before, because this is my first and only marriage, Lord's will. But I carried myself as a wife before I became a wife. Sorry about that. I carried myself as a wife before I actually became a wife. So how I moved, how I dated, whatever, I had 2 long-term relationships. 1 4 years, 1 5 years. I took 5 years to myself. I had to get over the hurt of the last relationship and drop all that baggage. And then I dated freely. But back to this young lady. I said, you can't have me for 27 years without wifing me. This young lady said, everybody don't want to be wifed. I was with my man for 15 years and he was married before and I was married before and we don't want to get married. We fine with that. And just because you wanted to get married don't mean that everybody wants to get married. Yeah, da, 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 da. Baby, less than a year later, I'm getting married, y'all. We're getting married. I'm about to flood y'all timelines. We getting married. I'm gonna flood y'all time. Next thing you know, there's a wedding and a timeline flooded from what? A young woman who wanted to be married, but she went with the narrative that we are okay with this, likely because he didn't ask her at that juncture of 15 years in their relationship. 15 years and a child, might I add. I was determined to not have children until I was married. I met my husband at 28. I felt that before I met my husband, I was like, this might not happen because I got to meet somebody, got to get to know them first, got to date for a while. Then we have to get married. Then we have to work on having a baby. So I was like, okay, God, if you just have me be your auntie for the long haul, then auntie I am. But what I didn't do is go and try to make someone want me. I'm going to share this last little story. During my single years, I dated a guy. And I was feeling him. He seemed to be feeling me. I'm not one with the guessing game. I put it out there. Hey, I'm feeling you. What are we doing? Where do I stand with you? Where are we at with this? I don't have time to play games. I told you, I was a wife before I became a wife. So this person said, Tish, he had another nickname for me, but he said, Tish, if God said I had to settle down right now and get married, you would be the one. College educated, beautiful, right? But there are several women out here that would rather cuddle up with a book than to date a guy that has a whole bunch of kids or this, that, and the other. And he was college educated with no children at that time as well. We're in our late 20s, right? He said, I feel that I need to service as many of these women as I can before I settle down. I had a long night, y'all. That's why I got on my sunnies. But if y'all could have seen how I looked at him, like, really? But, sorry about that. I had a cold. But I was so thankful for one, as my assertiveness in asking the question, because so many women go with the flow and they never ask. They don't ask, are you married? Do you have a woman? Nothing. They just go with the feeling, oh, this feels good when we together, so it is what it is. I can't live my life like that. I need to know where we at, what we doing. We gonna have a grown folk discussion about what we doing. And so once he told me this, I was like, cool. I began to move accordingly. So when he would call, I wasn't available. Wasn't available like I used to be. Your girl was out on dates with other people. And this is where I learned that it is smart to date multiples, but you do not bed all of them. If you choose to get your itch scratched, you pick one, let that one be the one to scratch your itch, and that's that. But you do not date 5 people and you bedding 5 people. No, you date with your clothes on. There's a such thing of dating and snuggling and cuddling with clothes on. It didn't just happen in Waiting to Exhale with Wesley Snipes and Angela Bassett. It's a thing. I did it. We must stop with this madness of trying to fill a void. Because ladies, let me tell you something. While you letting these dudes run through you and you thinking that you running them, you wearing yourself out, you taking in. Like this woman said, you came all in my body. That was the nastiest sounding thing I had heard in a long time. But she let a stranger. She doesn't know his family's mental health issues, which are often genetic, diabetes, whatever. She knows nothing about this dude, and he had no intentions on being a father to her child. So then guess what happens? Baby comes, baby grows up. Mom will often lie about who dad is. He's a deadbeat, he's this, he's that, he's in jail, this, that, and the third. Because mom doesn't want to say, I had a one-night stand with a dude that had no intentions on being with me. So while she normalizes it and will argue probably, it's cool, I do what I want, I move how I want, da, 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 da. Once you have a kid looking up at you asking, where's my father, there's a bit of shame that suddenly kicks in. Well, that shame needs to start now, ladies. That shame needs to start now. You should feel, we all need to go back to feeling some shame. There was a time when a young girl got pregnant and wasn't married. They would send her down south with auntie. And she would grow up, or big mama, and she would grow up with her mom like her sister, or grow up with her baby like her sibling. Because there was an adult helping to raise them. And these children that came from these teenagers, they could turn out to be something. I went to college with some of them. And they turned out to be great. But there was a shame associated with having a baby too young. Follow me now. There was a time when going to jail was a shame. He's down south. He went to stay with his auntie. He was really in jail. But there was a shame associated with this. And this is not my original thought. This was D.L. Hughley. I agree with him 100%. I give credit where credit is due. There was a shame associated with those things. We need a healthy dose of that. We don't want to walk around hanging our heads low, condemning ourselves. God, the God that I serve will convict you. That's saying, ouch, she's talking to me. I need to check myself and get my stuff together. That's a conviction, right? But he won't condemn you. When you walk around with so much shame that you're ready to take your life, or you feel that there's no hope. That's condemnation. The God I serve doesn't do that. So I don't want any of you to do that, nor do I want you to think that I'm doing that to you. But there should never be any pride in meeting a guy the first day, betting him. And she actually said the 3 times that we did it raw that night. So you let this man release 3 times inside your body, and you don't even know his last name. We cannot go around saying that all men are deadbeats and these ninjas this and they need to grow up and these women need to start doing better with their sons and whoop the whoop. No, we can't do that. We have to take responsibility for ourselves. And that means doing the work on ourselves. Some of us need a therapist to work through all of the issues. It may not be daddy issues. It could be mommy issues. It could be abandonment issues. It could be just wanting to be loved issues. We're in a pandemic, the isolation issues. There's a plethora. The PTSD, 9 out of 10 of us, if not all 10 of us, are living through. But my God, y'all, we got to do better. My husband took pictures of a young lady walking out down the street with a young man, as if it was her dude, and a baby. And she had on what was equivalent to a bodysuit. My mom used to call them dance skins. There was a brand that was a more expensive brand back in the day. Now they sell them at Walmart. But my mom was slim and trim, and she would wear her little dance skin with her slacks or her whatever, and it makes sure everything lays smooth when you ain't got no stomach and no rolls and all that stuff. But they snap between your crotch. This sister was outside with that on yesterday. My husband took pictures. She parked next to my husband. She's bending over. He's like literally taking pictures all up into her tonsils and showing me like, look at this. Look at this. We gotta do better, y'all. And any dude that will walk alongside of you or holler at you while you're looking like that, he don't have no respect for you. And what is her son thinking? How embarrassing for these boys when their mom is walking around looking like that. But mom will talk about dad being a no good, this, that, and the third. We got to do better, y'all. Come on. Our communities are suffering. My last note. If this should happen to hit the ears of one of you young men that's out here shooting randomly into crowds, into stores, not paying attention to babies, and there are so many children being killed in my city by stray bullets that were not intended for them, and some just out there in the wrong life, and the bullet was intended for them. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, crazy. Use your guns to protect the hood, not to inflict pain on it. Can we try that? Can we try that? That's my time, y'all. I'm at basketball practice with baby girl. I decided to plug in and talk to y'all. I want to make sure that when I talk to y'all, I have a message that is prayerfully going to bless someone. So ladies, I'm not here to judge you. God knows I'm not. But I'm trying to call you in. We can't keep doing the same thing expecting the different results. There's a whole generation lost because their moms were chasing dudes and not raising the sons, and the sons is out in the streets getting it for themselves because they tired of not having and this, that, and the third. We got to do better, y'all. Be kind to one another. The other thing is, lastly, whether you choose to get vaccinated or not, don't bash the next one for doing it. And if you do get vaccinated, when you get to your first shot, you may not have any issues except pain in the arm. That was what usually happens. The second one, you could have flu-like symptoms, which includes a fever, the chills, very cold, very hot, the temperature, again, no appetite, maybe accompanied with some diarrhea, whatever, body aches. That should only last within the first 3 days. If it goes beyond that, then you need to call your doctor. But a lot of people feel that it's best to experience, or possibly, because everyone's not getting these symptoms, but possibly experience 3 days of these symptoms than to have COVID and experience what that will bring, or not knowing what that will bring. So don't shame another. Pass on or pass along the information. There's a sister, Kismakia Corbett from Maryland. She had her hands in the mRNA Moderna vaccine. She's from Baltimore, Maryland. I chose Moderna for that reason. That's my choice. But whether you choose to vaccinate or not, that's up to you, because I was the first one saying, I'm not doing that. Okay. On that note, I'm going to go. For all of you that listen, thank you. Hit the like button if you so choose. It helps with the algorithms. Hit the share button if you so choose. It helps. I want to reach as many people as I can. We got to do better as a people. Be kind to one another. You never know what someone may be going through. You never know what someone may be going through. Be kind, okay? Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching.